Comedy is like heart surgery. It gets botched all the time. Go forget.
Debuting on April 9th on FX, the Billy Crystal and Josh Gad starring The Comedians is very meta, as in metabolic syndrome, as in bloated and bad, I'm sorry to say. The show about a documentary about an FX show with a very needy comic legend and the Book of Mormon star, well, it has a lot of awkward possibilities, but not much originality.
A long time.
Not as long as this.
Having said that, and maybe this is way too inside baseball, by the way, but in a show full of inside winks and jokes, Dennis O'Hara is so great as FX boss Dennis Grant, who is so obviously an exaggerated version of real-life FX chief John Landgraf, that maybe, in fact, there's a good FX show here in that character, because there certainly isn't in the two played by Crystal and Gad. And part of the problem with The Comedians is it seems so unsure of what it is. Is it Curb Your Enthusiasm, a generational odd couple, or Rosencrantz or Guildenstern are not dead? Or for that matter, if it even wants to be funny, because both the real show and the fake show aren't. Now, aiming, I assume, to be somewhere between The Office and Curb, the backstage dark lights of The Comedians only serves to remind me of just how good and how ahead of its time the Larry Sanders Show truly was and is. Because unlike Sanders, The Office and Curb, everyone in this show, from the insecure harried producer, the blunt PA, and the ambitious cue card guy, well, they're a type, as are the straight-to-camera interviews that perpetuate it. And with that, the show creaks along in search of itself. Again, both as a real show and a fake show about a real show.
When I found out Billy Crystal wanted to work with me, nobody was more excited than my grandparents.
Well, not entirely, I have to say. There's a short promotional stint on Jimmy Kimmel several episodes in that's great, but that's mainly because of the late-night host himself and just how implausible the whole thing would be about ever making it to air. Otherwise, I kept waiting for the Crystal, Larry Charles, Ben Wexler, and more Eat Pete series to gel once it got past the setup of the pilot. But instead, it just remained in what felt like a perpetual setup. Trying to be clever is great, and something I wish more shows would at least aspire to. But in the case of The Comedians, you also have to deliver a punchline, or you're going to hit the mat quickly, which is exactly what happens here. I'm Dominic Patten for Deadline Hollywood.